Let's do the same for the data visuals. So again, if we look at the visuals, they're built using this JavaScript code and this bit in here that is being rendered by Django, and we want to render it using JavaScript now. Okay, so again, let's go here, and we're gonna do something like, okay, let's copy this, paste it here. Okay. Right, and that's gonna be the visual data. Data 1, let's say, because we will have more than just one, and then we're gonna go through it somehow. Obviously, that's not gonna be the case exactly, so let's just delete this. And I'm pretty sure we're going through some key and value here. So I'll just change it for now for key and value. That's not the case anymore. We will probably use some of these here, okay? But let's leave it for now. Let's focus on building the view. So let's go here, and underneath this method here, let's do def air pollution visual data 1 request. Okay, and I'll just make sure that I'm spelling it exactly the same. So I'll just copy and paste it here. Yep, it's the same. And in here, so we want to go and get the visuals here. Visuals. Paste it here. You know what? Let's copy all of that code from the backup, and I'll just take whatever I need to take. I know I did some post-processing here. I'll see if I need that post-processing, because mainly what we were doing there was JSONifying, and so we don't need to do that now if we return the JSON response. Okay, so let's have a look here. So let's go to the top, visuals data, that's fine. We're taking chart 1, that's fine. We can get rid of this, and then we have this here. That is okay. We don't need minimum and maximum for this anyway, as far as I know. So let me just delete this from here and see if we're using it anywhere. Let's see if we're using minimum anywhere. No. Okay, minimum maximum is great. So we don't need that for this visual, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Units, we're not using units as well, so let's get rid of that. We're using count, and that stays. Okay. So then what we were doing was we were JSONifying some of that data here that we then used in HTML that was then taken to JavaScript, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to do that anymore. What we can do here, I can just get rid of this. Again, just like with the tables data or table data, we can use JSON response. So return JSON response visuals data. Okay. And in URLs, I'm gonna copy this name, and in URLs, I'm gonna Command D and paste here, and paste here. Okay, so now we have the air pollution visuals data 1 somewhere in the background, and in here we are calling it, and we are doing something with it. Let me console log just to see. Data console log. Let's see what we get from it, and let's go here, open the inspector, so we can right click and inspect in Chrome, console, and refresh. So we were waiting for the table, and we got already something for the visuals, and I can open it here. We have our pollution level by pollutant by country, and inside we have chart type, data set, labels, and so on. So again, we have the same data, but on the client side in JavaScript. Cool. So what can we do now with that data? We are going through key and value, which in here is the chart name, and the value is another object that has different information in it. Okay, so what can we do with that? So let's change that to, say, chart name. And by the way, I can just use so I can use this code from Jinja, and I did it for our table, and that was useful. So I'm gonna just paste it here, and because it doesn't belong really, I'm gonna just command / to comment it out. And now we're going through chart name and data. Okay, we can call it D again because that's data here. So chart name and data. Okay, in our data. And so items, entries, that's the equivalent in JavaScript. And then we need to create some canvas. So let canvas be an element canvas. Okay. Now, if you look at the previous approach, we were using something here. Data name, data labels, data, blah, blah. So this was some serialized, so changed into a string and then unscrambled here, data that we were using in our canvas. And we were grabbing stuff by the chart name, chart type, and so, and then plugging that information in. I want to have a different approach here. Instead of going between the data, say, list to string and back to list, so Python, string, JavaScript. In here, we can just, because we have everything in JavaScript already, I want to do something like this. When we go to and create canvas, instead of grabbing by each chart1 class, like here, and do something with it, what I want to do is I want to just create this, use this as a function. So let's copy this. And let's put it, let's say, maybe here. Okay, let's call it, say, let render char1 is a function of canvas, name, labels, and datasets. And with those variables passed into this function, that's going to be canvas. Okay, so we use that canvas and we put in the name here, labels here, and datasets here. And then if we go here, all we need to do is add some class like MB3 and then maybe width and height, but the rest doesn't have to go in there. So let's do add class MB3 and then attribute should be 400, or probably it has to be a string. And then another attribute height should be 350. Again, it needs to be a string. Okay, so we have this part, we don't need the rest. And with this, we can call our render chart1, and I'll pass this canvas, so this variable that holds this element. So canvas, and then we take the chart name, then we take the d dot, what was it? D dot labels and d dot sets, d dot data sets, and that's it. We don't have these for that chart, so we don't need to pass them. Okay, and okay, that should work for, so for each of them, oh, sorry, so that shouldn't be a dot, that should be a comma. And in here, so we can get rid of this as well. So for each of the chart, we are going to do something like that. We need to put that canvas somewhere. So let me just scroll up, and instead of having this for loop here, so we are not using this anymore. We're going to put that as, I don't know, ID is going to be visuals container. We need to go back here. We don't need this anymore because that's ready. And maybe in here, I'm gonna grab our visuals container and append the canvas. Okay, so I am appending this canvas to the visuals container, and then I'm using this canvas also for rendering the char number 1. There's going to be more, so we don't need that anymore. So I can get rid of this, and let's make it look nice, and let's see how it goes. So let's refresh, and let's hope, boom, here it is. So now we have our visual being rendered on the client side. So we just pass from this view some JSON visuals data sent to our browser, and our browser built this for us in here. So I moved stuff around. Now we can harness the power of using a chart as a function, render charts, so we can render those charts one after another if you have more. If we have some different combinations of or configurations of the charts, we can change it here, but then we can use it like this. So what I like about this, and let's go back here and just delete all this messy blocky code all the way to here, delete this. Okay, and now what I like about this is when you want to make any change to a certain view or visual or data or whatever, you just go to one endpoint. This is the endpoint for the visual, that's the endpoint for the table, and that's the endpoint for rendering and posting data to air pollution. So it's a little bit tighter. We don't need to look at the huge amount of code to find our piece that we want to change. And also when we want to add to it, we don't need to think, hey, where am I going to add it? It's going to be maybe slightly slower to every time do some repetition for each of the views, but at the same time we're building a better code, more compartmentalized code, which is very important. Okay, so I'm going to finish here. Now that we have our code working with AJAX, we are ready for some new visuals and we're using better architecture. So it's going to be way easier to implement some new stuff. Great. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.